Hey guys, this is second part of the tutorial showing how I edit the image of double cluster taken with this achromatic refractor and the unmodded Canon 4000D. And now let's switch to GIMP and let's open all the resulting files. Expansion, astrophoto. Let's open all the resulting files, all four tiffs, in GIMP. F5 stretch tiff, stretch no stars, F10 and F10 no stars. Open. Alright. So this is the version shot at F10 with nice round stars, but there are traces of chromatic, well, there is a lot of chromatic aberration and also slight color misalignment. And this is the version shot at F5 with triangle shaped stars. And what I was afraid most is that there are, similar to my previous image of M31 galaxy, there are these bluish spots in the background left after Starnet removed the stars. I hoped that using the Bader semi-apo filter will help in reducing these blue spots, but I used the semi-apo filter and it didn't help. As you can see, the blue spots are all around the image. This is not a big problem for this particular image, but I will have to think about something to mitigate these blue spots. I definitely don't like them and they make the processing much more difficult, but okay. First things first, so let's work on stars. So we have two layers, the one with stars at F10 and the one also shot at F10 but without stars. What we want to do first is to create the image of stars only. So we select the upper layer without stars, we choose the blending mode, we set to subtract, and we click right mouse button, new from visible, these are stars. These are stars. So now what can be done with these stars? We have chromatic aberration, but we also have color misalignment. There is blue in the upper part and there is red in the lower part of the stars. So I will use my usual method for dealing with such problems, which is aligning colors by shifting layers. So first, right mouse button on the image, colors, components, decompose to RGB. Decompose to RGB. And I will scale the image up. I will resample it to 200%. 200%. Okay, the image is resampled. Okay, so let's try to move red just a bit up, transform offset, move up, oh wait, up or down? Up, yes. Let's move red a little bit up. Let's move red a little bit up, transform offset red 1 pixel up, and let's move blue, layer, transform offset 1 pixel down. How does the green look like? Yes, I think it's located in the right place, more or less. And red, is it not too high? But if I go down with the red, layer, transform, offset, if I will go down with red, it may be too low. No, it should be up. I think it should be up. Layer, offset 1 pixel up. Okay, let's try this. Image, scale image, 50% scale. Okay, the image is scaled down, and I think the result is quite good at the moment. Compose, red, green, blue. Up. Yeah, I think I will leave it. I will leave it like this. Edit, copy, edit, paste as new layer. Yeah, I think it can stay like this. It's the best I can achieve at the moment. So let's delete this layer. So now, two things, as I usually do. First, let's remove the greenish tint from the small stars, and then I will remove the purplish fringe around the stars. So I can use the layers, the 3 RGB layers I have here. So this is my usual way of dealing with excess green. I set the blending mode of red to lighten only. I choose new from visible. I then move the green layer up. I set the blending mode to darken only. New from visible, I name it new green. I delete the old green layer, I'll delete this layer too. And now let's compose it again to RGB. Okay, so the greenish tint from small stars is removed. Let's close these 3 layers. And now for removing the purple fringes, I will click colors, invert the colors, and I will repeat the process, decompose the layers. Red, lighten only. New from visible. move green up, blending mode to darken only, make it visible, new from visible, new green, delete layer, and compose it again, components, compose, red, new green, and blue, okay. And right mouse button, colors, invert. Alright, so we have, we have purple fringes removed, or we removed purple fringes. Edit, copy, edit, paste as new layer. Ta-da! Well, I said it before in the previous video. I really love this effect. When first you have terrible stars with terrible chromatic aberration, terrible color misalignment, and then you make some simple tricks in GIMP. Ta-da! There is some slight bluish fringe around the stars, but well, it's okay. For the refractor, for the telescope, for which I paid equivalent of 75 bucks, 300 Polish zloty, I think the effect is quite good. Alright, so this was the first thing to do. Let's save the file just in case. Version 2. So now, what to do next? I will do, first I will duplicate this layer, the layer with original stars. I will duplicate it, I will move it up, stars, correct color. I will duplicate this layer too, just in case. And now what I want is I want sharp stars without these false colors. So I put the layer with original stars on top, and I put the layer with slightly blurred stars, but with correct colors. The stars here are blurred because I resampled the image previously. I moved up to 200% and then resampled it back to 100%, so the stars are blurred and I want them to be as sharp as possible. So now I will set the blending mode of the upper layer, of the top layer, to luminance. So it takes colors from the layer below. New from visible. Let's call it stars, okay. Oh. I can turn these layers off. So now if we compare, yes, you see these are the stars which are color corrected, but they were scaled up and scaled down, and these are the stars of the size of original stars, but still with colors corrected. So these are stars which I want to work on from now on. So now what I can do is first I can make the stars smaller. Let's duplicate this layer just in case. For this I will use select by color. Select by color. Select grow by 8. Maybe by 10. Select grow by by 10. Select feather, let's keep it at 8. And let's use distorts value propagate, more black, but we need to be careful here, because if we reduce the size, the brightness of stars too much, we will end with these lines connecting cores of stars. So we don't want to make the reduction too aggressive. Let's keep it like, yes, I think this will be okay. 0.3. Maybe it's not much, but I think it's all right. Select none. Okay, so these stars are slightly smaller, not so bright. These are the stars before making them darker, and these are after. And now I will try to improve the saturation, increase the saturation. So I will again make duplicate of this layer, maybe another one, and I will blur the bottom one, Gaussian blur. Okay. Colors, saturation. Let's go up with the saturation. But let's also not overdo it, because as you can see, the stars begin to look unnatural. So I will try to correct the saturation using hue saturation. Maybe I will go down the red saturation a little bit. Oh. Or maybe I try to change the whole hue of the whole image. Just a little bit. No, I think I can try both. Reset. So, or maybe, yes, I will do it like this. I will change the hue only of red color. Oh, to make the stars more orange and not so intense reddish. Okay. Alright, so this is the version with corrected, increased saturation and slightly corrected colors. And this is the original sharp version. So let's do the same old trick again. So I set the blending mode of the upper layer to luminance, and the blurred layer with increased saturation and corrected colors are below the layer, the top layer. So let's click New from Visible. Let's call it Stars Finish. All right, so these are the stars shot at f10, file save, shot at f10 after all color corrections. If we compare them to original stars, we can see that the improvement is quite dramatic. Actually, these stars, the corrected ones, remind me of the image from ED80 telescope. I also I was using, I think, some time ago. I was also photographing. I was doing astrophotography using my ED80 Skywatcher ED80 refractor, And the image of stars I was getting from this refractor, ED refractor, was quite similar to the one I am getting now from the achromatic refractor after all these corrections. All right, so these are the stars. Now let's think about something to correct the background. So there are two issues here. The first one are the bluish spots all around the background. And the second one is a slight gradient caused by the full moon, which was present during the session, during imaging. So what I will do, as usual, I will first duplicate the layer. And the simplest trick to reduce the bluish spots, which is easy to apply here because there are no objects in the background, it is just background. The easiest way to deal with the bluish spots is just to decrease the saturation. I can either try to decrease the saturation of the whole background, or I can try to decrease the saturation only of the blue color. We'll see what gives better results. Maybe I will decrease the saturation of the whole background, or maybe not. I think I will go for the whole background, just to be sure. Oh, let's make it like this. All right. So this is the first thing to do. And now for removing the... maybe we can try to compare. This is after decreasing saturation and this is before. So just simple trick with decreasing the saturation of the background solves the problem, in this case, solves the problem of these bluish spots. Okay, so now let's remove the gradient, duplicate layer, and for this I will duplicate the layer once again, and for this let's make something which is called artificial flat, but it is actually artificial model of background. First I will remove all the traces of stars. For this I will use the clone tool. Let's increase the size of this clone tool, and it works like it copies the area which is selected onto the area where I want the copy. So I press and hold Control key on the keyboard. I press left mouse button, and this way, in this way, I select the area which should be copied. And I click on the areas where I want the spots to be removed. There were also some traces of stars here. Of course, you need to select an area which has similar brightness to the area where you want to paste the not target area, but the source area. Okay, and let's also remove these spots in the middle. Traces of brightest stars. Okay. All right. So now let's blur this layer. Filters, blur, Gaussian blur to 90. Oh. And this created a very smooth background with only the large scale gradient present. So now what I will do, first I will add a layer which has color of background. So I choose color picker, I click left mouse button somewhere on the background, and in this way I change the foreground color into this color where I have the color picker tool. And now I will add new layer filled with foreground color. So yeah, I made a layer which is uniformly gray. Okay, so once again, at the moment I have 3 layers. The original one with removed blue spots but with gradient. The blurred one which has only the large scale gradient, and the third layer which has color of the background but it's uniform, it doesn't have any gradient, it's just a gray layer. So I set the blending mode of this gray layer to addition, and I set the blending mode of the blurred layer to subtract, and in this way I subtract the large scale gradient from the layer below. But the result becomes very dark, so I need to add, like a pedestal, additional level of gray to restore back the color, the brightness of the background. And this I achieve by adding this additional layer filled with gray. And now if I choose new from visible, I have a new layer which has corrected background. If we compare it with the original layer, you can see that this one has gradient and this one doesn't. This one has equalized background. Alright, so I think what I will do is I will save the image just in case. I will save the image just in case. Okay. And now what remains is to add the layer with finished stars. And this is our very pretty image of double cluster made using the achromatic refractor. What remains, what can be done, is the correction of stars in the corners and cropping the image, because there are these brighter margins which are caused by dithering. These are stacking artifacts. So what I can do is first I can crop the image to remove these stacking artifacts. Let's crop the image. So first I make the selection, rectangular selection. It's right. Image, crop to selection. So this is the first stage. Select none. And as you may remember from my previous video, I mean not the first part of this tutorial, but the one where I processed M31 image, this last step of correcting the stars in the corners is optional, because the way I correct the stars corrects the shape of stars, but it also moves them into different positions. Right now they are on the image, they are in positions which correspond to their position on the sky, but after applying the filter, the lens distortion filter, and working with the edge parameter, I move the stars, I correct their shape so they become very nice and round, but I move them from their original positions. So if you know of a way to correcting the stars, the star shapes, without moving them, I would be glad if you could write it in the comments, let me know. But for now I do it like this because I like round stars. But it's up to everyone's decision what you would prefer, either elongated stars but on correct positions, or more round stars but in incorrect positions. Of course, this incorrect position is only in the corners, not on the whole image, but only in the corners. Okay, so I can play a little bit with the settings. Play a little bit with the settings. It's, of course, I don't want to achieve perfect roundness in all corners. I just want to improve stars from a very cheap telescope. So I think this amount of correction can be okay. This amount of correction can be okay. Or I can try to load the preset stars F10, because I already have some presets. How does it look? These are better. From the previous run of editing this image. Yeah, okay, I can try with this preset. Okay, so this was stars NGC 869 version 2. And I have to apply the same modification, the same filter to the background. Let's turn off these layers. So with this layer with background selected, I choose filters, distorts, lens distortion, and I load this preset. And this action modifies the background so it corresponds to the modified location of stars. This would be important if I would have some sort of nebula in the corners to make its location similar to the location of stars. So now what remains is to crop the image for the last time. Crop the image for the last time. Okay. Image, crop to selection, and select none. Okay, And that's it. This is the finished image of double cluster shot by full moon using an achromatic refractor Startravel 80, for which I paid the equivalent of 75 bucks. So as you can see, the result reminds the result from the ED80 telescope, more or less, which I think is pretty good for such a small, cheap achromatic refractor. So now you can export the image, file export as JPEG, to put it somewhere on the internet. Okay guys, so thank you for your attention. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, please write them down in the comments below the video. And see you next time.